Thank you, Shocks. Now, there was a lot of discussion about which substitutes SKT should be bringing along to MSI. So, Irene, I want to hit you up for your thoughts on that.
Yeah, at first, I was really surprised that they were going to bring Bengi, considering the 3-0 performance that we saw Tom have alongside EZHoon in the LCK finals. I thought it was actually kind of short-sighted to bring Bengi instead of Tom, because I thought Tom needed the international experience before Worlds if they were actually, like, being full on with that commitment to bring him into the team. But then Bengi's been stepping up here. Bengi's been showing that his Rek'Sai is still very relevant on the Cinderhulk patch, and he's able to make these aggressive moves and even be relevant in the late game. So I think that I have to rethink my entire thought process behind that, because Tom, he does have some tilty moments, and I think that Bengi being able to keep his cool, it shows that they brought him because they're here to win this. They aren't here to give Tom experience. They're here to win this tournament.
I think you also have to rethink that EZHoon is pretty damn good.
Dude, he didn't die.
He's very good. He's very good. And this plays into what I want to go into next, which is that even with this organization having multiple subs and therefore many different rosters that they can throw onto the field, they seem to have pretty stellar communication. These guys do not miss a beat no matter who they're playing. With that, I want to jump into our replay of the final fight of the match. Sheepy, take it away, because this was them pivoting on a dime.
I think this was such a strong team fight. Wolf is going in, hitting 2 people with his ultimate. And what you can see here as well is that he's standing so much in front, and Rumble, perfect follow-up, and then the ultimate from Kalista, that is just such an on-point communication. And they had so much pressure, and then was Bang coming in, slowly putting more and more pressure, and EDG is still all alive, and then everyone just dies.
That was the orbital ion cannon from off-screen.
Yeah, you have to note, this is a composition that can eliminate the backline without even looking at it. An equalizer with a Vladimir ulti immediately gets the backline out of the fight. Tristana has to rocket jump away. Lulu has to get out of there because she's cooking up. And they didn't even use spells on them when they died.
I want to get Spawn in here on this one here.
I just want to point out, the entirety of that fight, Deft is free hitting and doing nothing. He was an absolute non-factor in that whole fight. And I definitely agree with you guys. It was well coordinated, well set up. But by that time, the game had kind of already ran away with itself. They could have probably whiffed the equalizer. Vlad ulted no one, and EZHoon still would have cleaned up the rest of the fight. Their communication's on point, but EDG need to fix their early game.
Well, but that's interesting you point out the early game, because we saw EDG capitalize on the blown flashes with the visits to the top lane. It was the bottom players, the bottom lane support and AD carry, to capitalize on flashes. So they were putting a lot of pressure on the map with that Sejuani, but even so, didn't equate to an early enough lead given the CS disadvantage between the AD carries.
I feel like EDG played a really good early game, visiting the top lane and getting the first blood there. And I really liked as well how it was following up afterwards. What was happening was Koro was getting a lead over Marin, and Bang was getting a lead over Def, both around 10 to 15 to 20 CS. And then you just had the game going 2 versus 2, 1 versus 1, SKT actually initiating lane swaps afterwards. And what happened after 18 minutes was that Koro was still with a 15 CS lead, but Bang was actually 45 CS ahead, and Def was so far behind that he was a non-factor.
Yeah. And you talked about the very, very early part where they got the kill top. Then they followed all the way through the jungle. Bengi's looking at the blue. He got screwed early game. They're like, we're showing up at your red. He was able to smite it away, and EZHoon's ghost on the Vladimir really picked them up and into that fight. And I thought that was just kind of a misplay there by EDG, because they had an advantage that they didn't push.
Well, we'll definitely be looking for EDG to step it up individually, because that's what we gave them so much praise for going into this tournament. But SKT, a solid display from a team standpoint, team play standpoint, and as you mentioned, of course, Bang's Kalista being absolutely stellar. And that's going to do it here for this game. Don't touch that browser. When we return, we'll dive into our 7th match, which pits AHQ against Besiktas Esports Club. The action continues in just a few minutes.